What they talk about over and over again, that in any kind of creative experience, there are three processes that no human being is exempt from. But before I go into the 8 movements, there are 3 processes that we're not exempt from, any human being, and that's work with self. It's the longest relationship we'll ever have in our life. And so how am I befriending myself? It's the longest relationship. Who do I eat with the most, sleep with the most, shower with the most, talk to the most, is my relationship with self. And where am I in that relationship? Do I befriend myself? Do I treat myself as a friend as I do others? And every human being on the planet has some work to do with self. I think that's an awesome fact. No one's exempt from that. And I love the very short story of Zusa, the rabbi who went to the top of the mountain to pray, to get guidance for his community, because he was considered the wise man, the rabbi of the community. And he came down after 3 days and he was terrified. And the community gathered around him and they said, "Rabbi, Rabbi, why are you so afraid?" And he said, "Oh, I now know what the angels will ask me on the last day. I now know what the angels will ask me." And the community said, but you've led a model life, you know, why would you be afraid? And he said, oh no, you must ask yourself the same question. You must ask the same question, because the question I'm going to be asked is, Rabbi, and put your name in front of this question, you know, why weren't you Rabbi? Or why weren't you Zusa? His name was Zusa. Why weren't you Zusa? So what gets in the way of me being authentically who I am? What do I allow to get in the way of being who I really am? Which is really why I'm so honored to for all of us to have Arrien here, because he's written incredible books, Subversive Orthodoxy, which is really asking us to take a look at Angelus. Why weren't you Angelus? Or Dianon, why weren't you Dianon? Or Charles, why weren't you Charles? Or Hannah, why weren't you Hannah? Or Amber, why weren't you Amber? You know, what do I allow to get in the way of the authentic nature? So that work with self. The second universal process that we're not exempt from, besides our work with self, is this one-to-one work called relationship. Myself and one other, a friend, my best friend, or a colleague, or a loved one, or my partner. This one-to-one, which is a crucible around intimacy, and a crucible around learning about love and all the forms of love. There's a love in friendship that's very different than the love in collegiality, or the love of a beloved, or my partner, or a lover. What do I know about all the forms of love? And there's one very short story around everything we need to know around this one-to-one relationship that also includes work with self, but begins to take a look at what might be the keys that are essential in every relationship. And it's the Pandora myth. And the Pandora myth is really found in every culture, but in every culture it's not Pandora. Sometimes it's a male, and sometimes it's not a male or a female. It can be a creature. But the story is always the same. The gods and the goddesses of in every culture were kind of bored and they needed a project. And they thought, what would be a project that would unite both the gods and this thing called Earth that would actually bring them together. And so they thought and thought, and that would last for all time and all eternity. And so the gods and gods, I'll tell the Western version, is that the Olympic gods and the goddesses decided, well, let's fashion this creature out of Earth itself, which is clay. Let's fashion this creature out of clay, and then let's give them gifts from us, the divinity. So Venus gave this creature love, and Mercury gave this creature communication gifts, and Zeus gave this creature leadership, and they went on, and Aphrodite gave this creature beauty, and they added all their gifts, all these incredible heavenly gifts, these gifts of divinity into this clay, and they were very pleased with what they created. They thought, oh, finally, a creature that held both divinity, divine gifts, and also was of the earth. And how could they make sure it would last through all time? And so they thought and they thought and they thought and said, well, earth and divinity have one great quality, which is curiosity and loving to explore anything that's new or anything that's forbidden. We've all experienced that, right? We love to explore something new, and then we kind of want to know about this kind of forbidden thing. And cross-culturally, we know that as a taboo. Every culture has their own taboos. And so they decided they would give this creature either a box, or they would give this creature a vase, or they would give this creature some kind of container and say, you must really care for this. This must go with you wherever you go, and you just care for it. Your charge is to care for it, but there's one limit, that you can never open it. You can never open it. And so the creature thought, and this beautiful box or container or vase, and caring for it, and it was gorgeous, and it made sure it was always in a proper place and always tending to it. And as the years go on, you get very curious as you're dusting it and caring for it, that it has a little lid or it has a little top, and you think, and because the gods and goddesses carry great curiosity, and so why wouldn't humanity also carry great curiosity? And so when you have both within you, it's called double curiosity and double trouble that way. And so finally one day, just couldn't quite resist, I'll just lift it up a little bit, maybe just take a little peek, and out came all the evils and the ills in the world. And many of us think that that's where the story ended. But when you take a look at the Pandora myth cross-culturally, there was always something that was left at the bottom of the jar or the vase that was overlooked. And in Asian cultures, what was overlooked when the gifts and talents and the evils and ills in the world are very strong and neck and neck, in Asian cultures, what was overlooked was compassion. In Western cultures, in the Pandora myth, what was overlooked was hope. In your indigenous cultures of the world, what was overlooked was truth. And so in our relationships with one another, and especially when we explore the light and dark within us, we must remember the three golden keys. Where am I in our relationship? Where is hope in our relationship? Where is compassion in our relationship? Where is there truth in our relationship. And in my own relationship with myself, where is there hope? What do I find hopeful? And what elicits my compassion? And where in my life do I find myself really in a strong relationship with my own integrity or honesty or authenticity? Because that's all a preparation for how I will be in community, how I am with myself and how I am with my one-to-one relationship prepares me for the third process, the universal process, which we're not all exempt from, which is community. And community means common unity, common unity, common unity. And in community, you're going to find the 8 movements in community. And in community, community always is an organism itself, and it always has its collective wisdom, and it has its collective shadow in every community. And in every classroom, there's a collective wisdom in every classroom, and in every classroom there's a collective shadow. And shadow really means that which I have not explored, that which is still, or that which I don't want to explore. Oh, I couldn't possibly ever achieve that. It's the shadow part. And so in community, we find the most creative energy possible because it's amplified. And in community, it's an organism that always, different parts of the community are involved in 4 sets of 2 universal movements around creativity.